Hey there, it's Carla from Sea Law Plans, and I am here to do a flip through of my 2020 MakseLife planner. So I've been in this planner for the entire year, January to December of 2020, which I feel like is a huge deal in the planner community to stick with one planner for an entire year. So I have done multiple videos on this, but he is a Frankenplan. His name is Bob. So he is a Frankenplan. So for the first 6 months of the year, I have all horizontal spreads. And then the last 6 months, I decided to combine horizontal and vertical. So I had 2 spreads every single week. So the reason I did that is because I wanted to closely track my goals, because this is a goals planner and a weekly planner in one. So it's kind of like a combo planner. But when I first started in January, I was very scared of setting goals. I had never set goals before. I'd never done power sheets. I never did, any other type of goal setting system. And so I was very intimidated, but Sierra, the owner and the founder of the company, was extremely welcoming to all of my questions. And so she definitely set me at ease. So I did go through all of the prep pages and the steps and the tips, and I did do my first compass assessment just to kind of get an idea of where I was and what I needed to work on. I was so intimidated with goal setting that I didn't even set annual goals. And so I will probably also in this video just show you my weekly spreads, and I'm going to try as hard as I can not to show you any of my actual goal setting pages. But I don't know how possible that will be because there's a lot of pages in between. So one thing that you get with the MakseLife goal setting system is a lot of notes and steps and tips, and I refer to these pages a lot. And so the next couple of pages are your annual goals. So like I said, I did not set annual goals in 2020. I was too scared to do so. I was extremely intimidated. I was very afraid of failure, like what's going to happen if I don't complete that goal. And since I'm in the end of 2020 and I've talked to Sierra multiple times, she's had so many live goal setting videos on Facebook and on YouTube, I now know that setting annual goals is very important. And I will actually be setting annual goals in 2020. So because I did not set annual goals in 2020. Oh, wait, I'm going to set annual goals in 2021. But what I did with my annual goals pages is I actually wrote down some of the things that I did complete. And I did this in September. So I wrote down the things that I did do, and I wrote down some ideas of things that I wanted to do in the future. So none of these are really super personal. So I will go ahead and share some of these pages. So I did start a blog. I did graduate with a 2-year associate's degree that took me a millennia to get. I learned a lot about Instagram and social media and content planning, and I found out that I am not the greatest content planner. So I'm not even sure that that will be in my goals of 2021. My husband and I did come up with some kind of things that we wanted to work on in the future, other things that we did as well. I'm starting to very, 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 very slowly learn American Sign Language. And so other things that I completed in 2020 is basically what I wrote in my goal setting pages, because I really wanted a space to come back to and reflect and say, okay, I may not have set goals, but I did a lot. We did a lot to our home. We did a lot in our finance category. So we did actually get a lot accomplished, even though I didn't set those goals. I also did not create a vision board for 2020. I created my very first vision board in 2021. There are images over on my Instagram, so make sure you go over there and follow me there as well. And so then you just kind of get into the month. I use this as my main functional planner. So my monthly view for me personally is where all of my planning goes. If I ever schedule anything, I put it in my monthly view first, and then I refer to my monthly view to create my weekly view. And so my months were always extremely functional. And then I also created monthly goals and weekly action items, even though I didn't create my annual goals. And so January was a pretty busy goal setting type thing. I used the beginning of the spreads in January for journaling, just to kind of ease myself into what do I really want to accomplish? What do I really want to focus on? What do I really want to do? This January 13th was the first time that I actually started to utilize this as a functional planner, because I just realized that this is not a whole lot of space to do a lot of journaling. It's a great space to do like a daily recap, but if you really want to dig deep and have journal prompts, this isn't really a great space to do that. And so my MakseLife has always been kind of my go-to functional planner. And so I'm skipping all of the weekly action pages, just so you guys know. And I'm completely obsessed with my habit trackers down here. I love my habit trackers. So I decided that I wanted to try and do a fitness planner. And I didn't really care for that, so I went back to journaling and decided that this is the week I decided it's not really a whole lot of space. So I just decided to bust out like an actual journal and a notebook. So February, again, completely functional. And this was when I really started to find my groove of how I wanted to lay out my plans. So I had all my schedules here, my main to-dos here, and all of my home maintenance and my cleaning on this side as well. And I did this for a really long time. That actually worked for a very, very long time for me. I did go back and forth to a health planner versus a functional planner. And these are all of my health spreads. And I kept up with it for a little bit, but then I just kind of decided that I just didn't really need to track. It was too much for me to track every single thing I ate. And I liked the mood tracker, and I liked being able to track when I woke up, but it was just too much for me. So March, as we know, March is March. We're not going to talk about March. We're going to pretend that March did not exist. And so this is kind of when I started like really falling into the, oh my gosh, things are starting to get really crazy. Things are starting to get canceled and rescheduled. And so this is where my planner gets extremely messy. And so this again was just me like in pure survival mode. So yeah, I mean, this was like when it was just survival mode. I didn't even do goals. I was like, just please stay alive and figure out how to teach your kids from home. That was my goals. And then I came up to my next Compass assessment. So I had all of my January scores here and all of my current scores from this Compass assessment here. And so understandably, everything decreased, and I was completely okay with it because I knew that we had, there's word choices down here. Sorry. So don't let kids watch this video. It was just pure survival mode for me at the time. So April was when our school district tried to go into the distant learning, but it was still really new, but we still had like some Zoom appointments for both kids. And then I did a lot of goal setting for my month in April, but nothing for that first week because this was when all of the school stuff was starting to happen with the kids. And then, we really struggled with trying to just kind of survive, basically. I didn't even use my planner for several weeks, and I was like, I've got to fill the space, and so I'm just going to write affirmations of just we're awesome and we're amazing. All right, so this is May, again, still extremely functional, very messy, pen and paper. And I actually really like planning this way. I like planning when it's really pretty and it's decorated and it's got a lot of stickers. But for me personally, this is the heart of planning. Like, this is why I plan, because I just need to get messy and I need to just get everything out of my head and down on paper. And so this is when I was getting back into my planner and still utilizing it as a functional planner. And then this is when I started actually kind of like really focusing too, again, on goals, trying to figure out like, okay, we can totally manage goals while still being quarantined and having like a completely weird new normal, basically. And so a lot of my planner is a lot like this. I didn't actually start getting really like super fancy with my planner until August, when I started adding in both of the weekly spreads, and I'll show you those obviously as well. Okay. Oh my gosh, I completely missed an entire week. Why did I miss a whole week? What was happening that week? June 8th, summer classes start. Oh, I don't know. I don't know why that my semester started. I should have been using my planner, but apparently I didn't. I don't know why. So let's see what else. I love these types of spreads. They're just so simple to me. We were on vacation. We decided to go to the cabin in Colorado and just stay away from all the people and just go hiking at Rocky Mountain National Park. And this is July. This is when everything in the planner world kind of started going a little wonky. So again, this is probably like one of my favorite layouts, is just having 3 separate categories to track things. My school had started and it was a summer semester, so those summer semesters are super short, and so I really needed to keep track of all of my work. And so I decided to do all of my school tracking here instead of my home maintenance and cleaning here, which my home really suffered these couple of months that school was in. Like, I did not have a very clean, very tidy home. But at the time, school was more important, so I can get my degree done and get graduated. So here is when I kind of really started thinking about, like, I really need to have 2 separate spreads, because although I love having all of this in here, it started to get very crowded, because here I was trying to track my exercise goals. I was tracking my school stuff. I was tracking all my to-do things. I was tracking my meals and my gratitude. And it started to get too crowded, and it started to make me kind of like have little eye twitches, because it was just almost too much. And so then at this time, I decided to keep my own school stuff in a separate notebook and just get back to like the more minimal basic type stuff here. And this is probably one of my favorite color combinations. I never thought that I would ever really like these colors together, but I really did. And I also tried to color coordinate too. So I tried to color coordinate with the goals for the MakseLife colors, and it ended up, the color coordinating worked really well. Okay, so here's August. This is kind of when I decided we need 2 planner layouts. And so that is exactly what I did. So the very first week of August, I decided to have the vertical be completely tracking all of my goals. Everything goal-oriented went in my vertical. I did try to keep my schedule in here too, but I ended up having to flip back and forth too much between my functional horizontal and my goal setting. So you'll notice over a couple of weeks, I ended up switching all my schedule back to my horizontal. But I wanted to work on specific things and all of my gratitude be on my vertical. And then the very next week, so this is August 3rd to August 9th, I also have the same week, August 3rd to August 9th, in my planner as well. So I had all of my goal tracking here and all of my to-dos here. I basically treated this as a daily. So anything that I needed to do, no matter how simple it was, like even taking the trash out, I put it in here. And I also loved that I could have 2 habit trackers. So this was my goal-related habit tracker, and this was my kids' habit tracker. So again, you're going to see 2 layouts from this point on throughout the entire planner. So again, the schedule was here, but it got too confusing because I used this layout mainly as my daily. And so I've got all of my goal-related stuff here, and then all of my functional to-do list stuff here. So this is a week that I tried to do a 0 white space spread with some friends, and I give props to anybody that can pull this off every single week. This is extremely challenging to try and find stickers, it was just really hard. And functionally for me, it doesn't work because it's beautiful, but I get really distracted with trying to figure out where everything is, where's the decor, and where's the things I need to do. So this was my super messy, I'm just going to write all the things down. So now we're in September. This was probably one of my favorite goal tracking type spreads. This was like all of my important stuff. Again, the schedule was still in here. And then I had my health, my self-care, my family fun, my reading, progress, and my gratitude down here. And then again, this is another one of those color combinations I never really thought that I would like. This was a fun one. This was a fake week that some friends and I did. And I decided to do that in my vertical because I knew that it was just going to be a lot easier to do in my vertical than in my horizontal. But I basically just touched base with some of my really closest friends, and I was like, okay, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to see? So I've got a lot of really cool stuff in here. This was a really fun spread to create. But this is actually where I lived that whole week. So this was a lot of fun, and it was actually really pretty, and I'm actually going to be doing a lot of this new style for memory planning in 2021. But this is, again, it's just my functional type of, this is where we're going to live in this planner. So here, my kids started school. So I have 2 kids, age 4 and 6, pre-K and first grade. They have so many Zooms. I needed an hourly. So I tried to create an hourly in here to keep track of all of my kids' Zooms, but a lot of them weren't on a perfect hour or half hour. So it was 12:15, 12:40, 1:40. And so it didn't really work for what I wanted it to work for. And so this was the very, very beginning of the semester with 2 kids, full online remote learning, staying at home. They are not old enough to really keep track of their own assignments. And so I knew that I had to have some place to put all of that. And then again, once I realized that this was not going to work, I had to move all of my kids' Zoom school lessons into my functional side of my planner. And then I also tried to do the vertical to keep track of all of their Zoom appointments and all of their assignments that they needed to do by the end of that day. And then this is October. So again, I tried to keep doing the school tracking here, and it was really challenging because I tried to color coordinate my daughters and my sons, and it was really hard to figure out. It took me a long time to find a groove of keeping my kids' schedule and my schedule basically in check. This was MakseLife's first birthday. I did an entire spread dedicated just to their first birthday, and they turned 1 on October 3rd, and I really had fun with these colors. This was a lot of fun too. We decided at the last minute that we were just going to go on a family camping trip. So we just scratched basically. This whole week was just like, let's just not talk about it. And then this is when I really started to find my groove of actual goal tracking. I got rid of all of the schedule stuff and I kept it over here on my functional side. And then I really just broke down each goal of things that I wanted to work on for that week or even that month. And I just tracked all of that in addition to the habit tracker. Oh, I never finished my habit tracker that week. That's too bad. All right, so again, habit tracking with goals, and I started using stencils a lot too, which if you guys have been following me for any length of time, you know how much I love my stencils. All right, so this was a week that we had a death in the family, and we decided to drive down to Texas to go to some of the services. And so this is the functional side of it. Okay, now we're in November. Oh, this was such a sad thing. So one of my pens fell in water, and I didn't think about it at the time, and I thought that I shook it out, and I thought that I dried it out, and I did not. I went to go click it, and then all this ink just like splurted out. It was so sad, but I remember it. It's a memory, so we're sticking with it. All right, so here is the first week of November. So this is a week that I was thinking about what I was going to be doing in 2021. I was like, maybe I want to do vertical in 2021. I don't know if I want to do bob. I don't know if I want to do horizontal. So I decided to try and kind of do like a whole vertical planning. And I kind of really liked it. I liked being able to kind of section off everything. And so I didn't really do a whole lot with this week because we were actually extremely sick this week. We did not have COVID. We all got tested multiple times. We did not get COVID. But yeah, so I just stickered everything on that week. All right, more goal tracking. And then we're still in November here. I'm not sure what happened here. Was this Thanksgiving week? No, it wasn't Thanksgiving week. It was right before Thanksgiving week. I don't know why I didn't finish that spread. Oh, well. All right, this is Thanksgiving week. So this is also when I decided that I was like, okay, I'm going vertical. So we're going to try vertical again. And I was just in like a mini identity crisis. And so I decided to use this whole week for like shopping lists and stuff. All right, now we're in December. Oh, this is the last week or the last month of the year. It's so sad. So this was a very busy, very exciting week. My dog broke his foot 6 weeks prior to this, and he was in a splint for 6 weeks. So this is the week that he got his splint off, and so I decorated all of it in like a little doggy theme. And then I just did a little bit of journaling that week. And then I went back to health or goal tracking in this because in my brain, it worked better that way. I'd been goal tracking for so long and functional in this spreads for so long. It was just easier for me. All right. And then this is one of the last ones, I think. And this is it. This is the week that we're on right now. And I do have this week here. So I haven't shown any of these, but every week you get a notes and reflections for the previous week, and you get weekly actions for the next week. So I didn't show you any of those because a lot of these are like super personal, and I just didn't really want you guys to know what was going through my brain sometimes that week. But you do get this last week in your MakseLife, but you also get this exact same week in your 2021 version. And so I decided that I was just going to move into my 2021. And so this was the last week, and then I'm not going to utilize it. And then I think instead of doing my last assessment here, I'm going to do my assessment after Christmas in my 2021, and I'm going to start with that. So because I did do the bob and I combined both of those planners, I had a lot of extra note pages. And so this was actually the very, very, very first sticker that I ever bought for my MakseLife. So my MakseLife, this particular one, the horizontal, I actually won in a giveaway before Sierra even opened the company for sale, to sell the actual planners. And so this was actually the very first sticker that I ever bought for this particular planner. It's from a shop on Etsy called Paper Jam Studios. And I did not read anywhere near as much as I wanted to this year, mainly just because I was focusing a lot on college. And then I had like a little sticky of extra books that I wanted to read. But every single planner I own, I always create a cleaning list and habit tracker at the bottom. And I will probably change this up a little bit for my 2021 as well. But I am a full-time mom. I do have 2 kids, and even prior to kids, I was obsessed with cleaning. And so I knew that I needed to have something like this because I'm distracted by other things now. And then I also decided to have like a little home projects. I actually did this in pencil mainly because I can't draw. I definitely can't draw straight lines, and I had no idea how to do this actual layout. And so I did this all in pencil, and I haven't even updated it. We've actually done a lot of these things already. And so I also had gift ideas, which I didn't like how it ended out, and so I didn't even utilize that. Pen test pages, more pen test pages, washi, just so somebody was very, very, very generous and gifted me a ton of, like 90 rolls, like a ton of washi. And it was more washi than I'd ever owned in my entire life. And I loved it so much. And I basically decided to do this in the back of my planner because if I ever wanted to buy washi, I would know what I had, basically. And then I created, this is probably one of my favorite things that I created a 2020 recap. So basically I wanted to do this to see, I went through my entire planner and I was like, okay, what did we do? What did we accomplish? Let's get this out on paper. Because I wanted all of this in my head before I took my 2021 compass assessment, because a lot of times I'm really hard on myself and I'm a very negative thinker. And so I really wanted to go into my next compass assessment with a positive mindset. And even though it didn't look like I completed a lot of goals, I grew a lot in 2020 and I actually completed a lot of stuff. My kids did a lot of stuff. And so this is probably one of my favorite pages in this entire planner. And then I still have all of these pages I never even used, mainly because I created the bob and I just had a lot. So that is my 2020 MakseLife. And because he is a combined, I actually just took his cover off this week because he was just getting, I mean, look at how big he is on that coil. The cover wouldn't even close. And I knew when it came time to store him in his little storage box and put him to sleep for a while, I knew that I was going to have to take the cover off anyway. And so, I just did it a little bit early because I really just have these last few pages to work in for this week. So that is my MakseLife, and I'm really looking forward to jumping into 2021 and making new goals and new plans and seeing kind of where life takes us. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask any questions down below about the system or my planning style or anything like that. And thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.